All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice exam series where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Griffin learned to label pictures of common fruits such as apples, bananas, and oranges using flashcards. Without direct instruction, Griffin begins to label pictures of unfamiliar fruits like kiwi and mango correctly. Griffin is also able to label actual fruits in the grocery store that he has never seen before. What concept does this behavior most accurately represent? So we're thinking about Griffin's behavior here. And what is Griffin able to do? Well, we know he can label pictures of apples, bananas, and oranges with flashcards, but then without further instruction, he's now labeling unfamiliar fruits, kiwi and mango. He then goes even further, goes into the grocery store and labels fruits he's never seen before in a natural, generalized setting. What term would we use to represent Griffin's behavior of starting to generate more and more categories or more relationships between items? A, response maintenance. Not necessarily maintenance, right? Because Griffin wasn't taught this, right? No direct instruction. He's never seen these fruit. Maintenance relies on the fact that we've taught something. Griffin was not taught these skills. B, reflexivity. Reflexivity has to do with stimulus equivalence, but reflexivity has to do with identical matching. So A equals A. And Griffin isn't necessarily matching fruits in the grocery store. He's labeling unfamiliar fruits and he's going to the store and labeling fruits, but he's not matching an identical sample to an identical sample. C, generative performance. Yes, this generation of performance is one way to think about it, where Griffin, from just learning to label pictures, can now perform all these other skills, is considered generative performance. And then symmetry would be A equals B and B equals A. We're not having the inverse here in this particular question. We're not dealing necessarily with that type of stimulus equivalence, and so symmetry is out. The right answer here is generative performance. Rick has finally started to eat his vegetables at dinner time, but is still only taking 1 or 2 bites and then refusing to eat any more. His mom tells Rick that if he takes at least 5 bites, then he can get an extra 20 minutes of screen time after dinner. Once Rick achieves this, he is required to take 7 bites. What type of differential reinforcement does this most resemble? It's probably the easiest type of differential reinforcement because what we're doing is we are taking a skill like eating vegetables that Rick already does and just increasing it. We're not teaching a replacement. We're just increasing an already existing skill. So we take 1 or 2 bites and then mom sets a new criterion at 5. We've got to go above 5 to get 20 minutes. Now, once he's done that, we move it to 7. We then have to go above 7. So we're changing the requirement to increase the behavior. What differential reinforcement does that resemble? A, alternative. With an alternative DR, we are teaching a replacement. No replacement is being taught here. B, diminishing rates. With diminishing rates, we're trying to decrease behavior. Here, we're trying to increase. What we're trying to accomplish is higher rates of the taking bites of vegetables. So this most resembles a higher rates of differential reinforcement. And then a DRO, other differential reinforcement, is when we reinforce in the absence of a behavior. Clearly not happening here because we want more and more bites. So what type of differential reinforcement does this resemble? C, higher rates. Joey is writing his first treatment plan under the supervision of a behavior analyst. Joey lists several goals and sets the mastery criterion at 80% for each goal. What feedback should be given to Joey? What jumps out at you here? What jumps out at you about this issue? If you're giving feedback to Joey, what would you say? He's writing a treatment plan, he has goals, and every goal is 80% mastery. What's the issue with that? A, none. Joey hasn't done anything wrong. Well, let's think about 80%. What if we have a safety skills goal that if the client can't do, let's say look both ways before crossing the street, could be dangerous. 80% is not going to cut it. We need that to happen every time. B, positive feedback for writing the treatment plan appropriately. Well, we're not there yet, right? We have to fix this issue of standardizing mastery. C, Joey should be reminded that the mastery criterion should not always be 80%. Yes, we can't standardize mastery. Just like we can't standardize programming, we can't standardize mastery. Mastery is reliant on the goal and our objective with that goal and several other factors that are individualized to the person. So if Joey is listing a mastery criterion at 80%, we need to remind him mastery criterion is not always necessarily going to be 80%. You are observing a technician who is struggling with managing a client's behavior. They claim that they are following the behavior plan exactly and are putting escape on extinction. After observation, you agree, but you notice that each time the client attempts to escape, the technician hands them Play-Doh to keep them occupied. Based on this information, what function might be maintaining the escape behavior? This is a common problem in real life practice where behavior happens for a reason and we think it might be functioning for one thing, but then somebody, like a technician maybe, is doing something, maybe inadvertently, that is actually leading to more of the behavior. So let's think about escape here. You're observing a technician, they're struggling with the client's behavior. They claim they're following the behavior plan exactly and putting escape on extinction. Well, that's great, but you observe them, you agree. However, each time the client attempts to escape, they are given Play-Doh. So the behavior's on extinction. The behavior keeps happening. You see extinction, but you also see the technician is giving them Play-Doh when escape is occurring. With that knowledge, what function might be maintaining the escape behavior? A, tangible. In this case, yes, right? We're no longer giving reinforcement for escape. But what the technician is now doing is giving them a tangible of Play-Doh. So it's possible we've replaced escape with now getting access to tangible. And so it's hard to say extinction is working or it's being implemented when it's very possible reinforcement is still being delivered in the form of a tangible. We wouldn't choose attention over tangible because we are highlighting the Play-Doh to keep them occupied. So escape leads to the Play-Doh, which is a tangible, and then it's not automatic because this is a socially mediated situation. So what function might be maintaining the escape behavior? It's going to be a tangible. A clinical director at an ABA company is excited about their Halloween party that is coming up soon. The clinical director plans to hire a professional photographer to document the event. The director wants to use some of the pictures on the company's social media and in their brochures. What does the clinical director need to make sure they do first? So an ethical question here, and it's a question regarding marketing material, company social media. That's important, right? Because personal social media, we should never post clients at all, but this is company marketing, company social media, and they want to use pictures from their Halloween party. Before they can do any of that, what do they have to do first? A, the clinical director needs to obtain informed consent from all families involved. Absolutely, right? We've got to get informed consent when sharing the likeness of a client or a stakeholder. B, the clinical director needs to first obtain consent from children under 18 years old. Kind of a trick answer here. We obtain assent, not consent, from children under 18 years old. So B is out. C, the clinical director needs to check and see if the photographer is trained in behavior analytic practices. Not necessarily. That's not going to be a requirement for that photographer. And D, the clinical director should not take pictures at this party. If they want to, they can. They just need consent first. When in doubt, make sure you get approval from your stakeholders, from your clients. A teacher feels that her students only come to class if they know that a test will be given on that day or during that week. Frustrated, the teacher decides that she will switch to a schedule that features only pop quizzes. These pop quizzes will not have a set due date, and students will not be able to make up any quizzes they miss. The teacher hopes this improves attendance in her class and in others. What generalization strategy does this represent? So the teacher is trying to accomplish what? And how is it related to generalization? Well, she's upset that students only come to class if they know a test is given. And so in order to change that, we're now just going to have pop quizzes that are unannounced. the students are never going to know when those quizzes or those reinforcements are available, right? Because coming to class was reinforced because they knew the exam was that day. Now they don't know when the exam is going to be. The teacher wants this to improve attendance not only in her class, but in others. So what is the teacher doing? A, programming common stimuli. Well, the teacher's not really programming stimuli here, right? She's not teaching towards generalization in another setting. She just wants class attendance to improve. B, self-management. She's not teaching them self-management either, because she's still got control with the pop quizzes. They have to come to class if they want to take the exam. C, general case analysis. The teacher never conducted an analysis of the environment or the generalized environment. D, indiscriminable contingencies. This is what it resembles most, right? Because with indiscriminable contingencies, we never know when the consequence is available. And in this case, the students don't know when those quizzes are going to be available. So the generalization strategy this most represents is D, indiscriminable contingencies. You want to establish a hierarchy of toys that your client has available to them at their house. Although your client struggles scanning a large array, you want to evaluate several items at once. You start by placing 4 items on the table. When one item is selected, you remove that item and rearrange the remaining items. You do this several times. What type of assessment does this resemble? So we've got a preference assessment question, establishing a hierarchy. What do we know? We know we are going to place 4 items on a table. So let's say we have 4 items, and then what happens? When one item is selected, you remove that item and rearrange the remaining items. Let's say X was selected. We have triangle, square, circle, say circle, square, triangle. So what does this resemble? What type of assessment? A, forced choice. Now remember, with a preference assessment question, you want to ask how many stimuli are you assessing at once? Forced choice is going to be 2. Here we have 4. Can't be forced choice. Now, it is multiple stimulus, right? Because we have more than 3. Is it with replacement or without? Well, are we replacing stimuli? We're going from 4 to 3 to 2. No. So it must be multiple stimulus without replacement. And it's not going to be free operant because this is a very systematic, contrived way to go about assessments. After successfully increasing a client's use of polite requests instead of aggressive demands through a differential reinforcement program, a behavior analyst wants to ensure the client continues to use polite requests in the long term. The initial intervention involved a FR1 reinforcement schedule with tangible rewards. Which of the following strategies would best support the maintenance of the desired behavior change while promoting independence from the initial reinforcement system? Long, tiring question. Let's stay focused. Let's not get overwhelmed. The question is asking, what's going to support maintenance while promoting independence from the initial reinforcement system? Well, let's start there. How would you promote independence from the first reinforcement system in FR1? Well, the obvious answer is we're going to fade it out. We're going to start to fade out an FR1 continuous schedule. Question 2 is, what would best support the maintenance of desired behavior change? In that case, we're also going to fade out and start thinking about generalization, because the client is using polite request much more frequently due to differential reinforcement. So long term, we want maintenance, we want independence from this reinforcement system. What are we going to do? A, introduce a response cost procedure in order to expose your client to punishment contingencies. There's really no need for a punishment procedure. Things are going well. We just want to start to support maintenance and independence. B, move away from the tangible rewards to social reinforcers like praise and increase the response requirement. Okay, this B is pretty good, right? Instead of tangibles, we're going to move to social reinforcers, which are much more generalized. And we're going to increase the response requirement, which is going to fade out reinforcement and promote maintenance. B looks good. C, continue providing immediate tangible reinforcement for polite requests to prevent regression or challenging behavior. Well, if we want to maintain the behavior and we want to promote independence, we can't keep going with the continuous schedule. It's not going to work. D, implement an extinction procedure without adjusting the reinforcement schedule for polite requests. Again, we've got to eventually fade out that reinforcement system as hard as it may be. So C and D are just not moving forward enough. What we want to do, move away from tangible rewards to social reinforcers like praise and increase the response requirement. A football coach teaches his team to stop playing once the whistle blows. As more reinforcement is delivered, the team eventually only stops playing upon hearing the whistle. What is the relationship between the whistle and play stopping? So let's think about the whistle in relation to play stopping. What do we know? We know the team learned that once the whistle blows, play stops. The whistle blows, play stops, and reinforced, right? Over and over again. And so what has happened with this reinforcement? Well, it's started to make the whistle signal that reinforcement is available for stopping play. So now when that behavior happens only in the presence of the whistle, what do we call that? A, this is prompt dependency. Well, this is not the prompt, right? We have the whistle, which is the SD, the stopping of play, and the reinforcement. There's stimulus control. Yes, the whistle has stimulus control over stopping of play due to the reinforcement history. C, there is overgeneralization. There is no overgeneralization. We don't even know if generalization is taking place. So C doesn't fit. The relationship between the whistle and play stopping is there is stimulus control. The whistle has stimulus control over play stopping. Your local coffee shop just started a program to increase return visits. The program grants you a free item of your choice after you purchase 7 other items. What type of reinforcement schedule is demonstrated here? Basic reinforcement schedule question. We have ratios, we have intervals. Ratios are responses, interval is time. Start there. What are we looking at? Is it time or responses? Well, you have to purchase 7 items. So you have to engage in a response 7 times. So we're looking at a ratio. Now, is it fixed or is it variable? Is it changing or is it static? What's static? Every 7 times you purchase, you get a free item. So this is fixed. So this gives us our answer of a fixed ratio. What type of reinforcement schedule is demonstrated? A fixed ratio schedule. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.